everyone up and down pit lane. But the action continues on track, so we'll hand it over to Matt Nolte in commentary for improved production. Good afternoon, Matty.
Afternoon, Jess. Great to be here in the top end, isn't it? Nice to be warm again. And out comes the improved production and Commodore Cups this year, because the HQ Holdens are having their own little race. They'll be out over the course of this Bet Easy Darwin Triple Crown weekend. We ride out with Bryce Forward out onto the circuit here in this qualifying session. Richard Crail is alongside me. 20 minutes of track time for these guys out there. Mixture of under 2 litre, over 2 litres, and the Commodore Cup cars that were so good back in the 90s. Great to have you back in Darwin, mate.
Hey, Nolt, it's always good to be here. It's one of the best events of the season, and we talk about escaping that southern winter. It's a casual 27-degree temperature change from when I left Adelaide yesterday to get up to here. It's an amazing place. Really looking forward to this weekend. And looking forward to this field. It's a bit of a highlight every year, isn't it? Because you get this great mixture of cars that we don't often get to see, and improved production's usually got its own stuff going on, but throw the Commodore Cup cars in and the HQs are on the program as well. See some of the Territorians going to work.
We love seeing this car on the circuit as well. Adam Ubergang, we know very well on track and off track as well. The man from Toowoomba who has dominated up here for many years, but he's going to have his work cut out by that guy called Ray Hislop, who's been unstoppable up here over many years in this local category. We pick up Bryce Forward once again. A chance to just get some laps behind the wheel of this NT Electrical number 24. His dad Brad is also out in the field this weekend too, which is great to see, and a big field of over 20 cars here. This is why we split up the HQs, because they've got around 20 cars as well. Now normally they would be at the back of this field having 3 races within one. This year they get their own category, but this really does change the complexity of this race, because they won't have the lap traffic early on in the race, will they?
Yeah, exactly right. So if anything, it could make the races even more competitive, because you won't have that variable. It'll be a flat-out fight. But gee, there's some good names in this. Ubergang and improved production car racing is a good thing. Kevin Stoopman, who's a multiple HQ racing champion, he's in IPRA now as well. Bryce Forward, Territory's own. I love the fact these guys will go to anything to support their home event. Dunlop Super 2's not here this year, so he's found a drive in a Commodore Cup car. Great to see one of the rising stars of Aussie motorsport. How he adapts to the Commodore Cup car, having driven a supercar all year, Matt. That might just take a session or two to get the eye in, but he's a guy who's used to driving a variety of racing cars, so I think he'll be all right.
And if you remember last year, he raced in the non-championship round for the Aussie racing cars and took home the Drive the NT Challenge, which is back this year as well. How's this for a mixture of cars? You got Commodores and a little Bimmer on the right-hand side trying to race down this 1.1 kilometre straight at Darwin Sitten Valley Raceway. You need horsepower for the straight, but you also need a car that can handle the corners. The BMW will be very strong around the backside of the circuit.
Robert Braun in the white BMW E30. That's the classic shape from touring car racing in the 1980s. The BMW M3 that Jim Richards took to the 1987 Australian Touring Car Championship. It's a classic shape, classic race car shape. Rob Braun, who's raced a Charger in historic touring car Group N competition, versatile driver. 7th quickest in practice this morning, Matt. So this car's got a good pace. He's got good car control as well, sliding out of turn 5 up into Thunder Valley. But like you touched on, this is the joy of improved production car racing. Let's just watch this and admire a bit of opposite lock. There it is, perfect transition. If we were judging that for drifting, I'd get the old 9.2.
Yeah, I've just pulled one out of the sleeve down here. We'll hang that up. 9s all round.
Decent.
I love this camera angle. This is new this year. It's a cherry picker above the track. Really shows you how long the straight is. And we'll be able to see the 3 wide action like we're seeing now down towards turn number 1. Keep in mind, this is only qualifying for 4 races this weekend as part of the Bet Easy Darwin Triple Crown. So the quickest at the moment, shock horror, is Ray Hislop, 1:16.51, 1.3 seconds quicker than second place right now.
And he was 1.8 seconds faster in practice this morning. He's the king of improved production car racing. There's a very realistic chance that that Falcon will be the fastest thing down the main straight in any category, including the Virgin Australia Supercars Championship. You can drag race that car and it would be competitive. It's got a lot of straight line motivation. I was just about to touch on, one of the great things about this class, Matt, is how these cars produce their speed completely differently. So Ray Hislop's thing might be 20 k's an hour quicker down the main straight, but the little Mazdas and indeed the BMW Rob Braun we were just looking at might be much better through the twisty bit, so you get that ebb and flow racing over the course of a session.
This part here too, when you start getting traffic like this, it can be very stressful for the race leader. later in the race across the top of the Dunlop curb cam, and the Shenanigans Hill in the background. Great spot to watch motor racing here.
Spent any time there, have you, over the years?
I've never actually been there.
What?
This is my 12th year here to Darwin. I've only been around here just to watch like a setup day, but never actually got to see race cars.
That's a travesty.
I know.
It's one of the great places to watch motor racing.
I lobbied for years about moving the commentary box over.
I'm all for that. Terrific place. It's Ray Hislop comes to pit lane. This looks a lot like a race. It is actually a qualifying session there. Setting the grid, 14 minutes to go. Caligari is quickest in car number 5. Look at the gaggle of cars running into turn 1. That's the problem in the field like this, is that finding your own little bit of hidden valleys just under 3 kilometre layout is a real challenge, because you need clean racetrack to set a fast time. You don't want to be dicing with other cars. Caligari's just had a very large moment coming out of turn 1. Big oversteer, got up on that exit curb and had a slide that will cost him a little bit of lap time. He's fastest at the moment. He's got 0.1 of a second over Ray Hislop, the 1:16.36. Hislop set the benchmark earlier today, though. 1:14.8 is about the benchmark we're going to be looking for the pole position.
That was the coolest the conditions will be all day long here at Hidden Valley. Ubergang needs some clean track at the moment. He's down the field in 10th position. He's on a flying lap, and look at the traffic around him right now. Mr. Mazda RX-7 just ahead, who's trying to qualify himself through the field. Doesn't have to move out the way here, no, because they're qualifying, but there's so many cars here. In fact, looking at our count, it's nearly 30 cars that we have here. So with a 2.8 kilometre circuit, there's not much space around here during qualifying.
Ubergang only 10th at the moment. He'd like to be a little bit higher up than that. Certainly the potential in that Mazda 808 is to be there. Oh, look at this.
No.
4 wide in qualifying down the drag strip here at Hidden Valley. That is awesome. This is a qualifying session, folks. This isn't a race, but it might just be a little pointer as to what we're going to get later on this afternoon.
I just checked with race control. Yes, this is qualifying.
I'm glad.
Man.
They should tell these guys as well.
You never see this in qualifying.
Having at it. It's not conducive to good lap times, but it's good fun for good television. This is terrific. That's Hudson in the 65 car, the Mazda RX-7. Zach Hudson, the Queenslander. Drivers from multitude of states. John Caligari is from WA. Hudson from Queensland. Bunch of Territorians. This is that moment from the Commodore we were talking about on the exit of turn 1. Get over that exit curb out on the painted line, and that's a slightly different scenario that set up this remarkable moment. So a couple of RX-7s and some Mazda 808s going at it. It's the Mazda Cup.
Or the Freedom 100 finish. One of the two. There was the 65 going off the circuit down there in turn number 5. They want to go 3 wide. You can't go 4 wide down there because it's just too narrow.
And they've just listened to you and go, do you want to make a bet?
Yeah, we'll try. Especially with Adam Ubergang in there.
That's cool.
Pit lane kind of busy right now. About 8 or 9 cars in there with Caligari still at the top. 1:16.360. It's under a 10th.5 a second quicker than Ray Hislop, who's been back in the pits for nearly 3 minutes now. Layford is next. Hudson, Jessup, Kevin Stupin, who we saw in the East Coast Bull Bar Super Ute Series at Winton just a couple of weeks ago. Back to Braun, Casato, Johnston, and Bryce Forward sits in position number 10, and still 11 minutes left in this session.
And Bryce is currently fastest of the Commodore Cup runners. The next best is the other forward in the field, 15th place. So father and son, 1 and 2 at the moment. Son in front of father, and we jump on board the number 24 car. He's heading through the final corner. Let's have a listen to the 253 scream.
Makes it nice and easy, resting the arm down this 1.1 kilometre straight is Bryce Forward, sitting back there in 10th position at this particular point in time. He's a local lad that's contesting the Dunlop Super 2 Series this year. Picked up his first round win on the streets of Adelaide earlier this year. Earlier today, we caught up with him on his thoughts on this weekend's event.
Yeah, so basically here this weekend we have Commodore Cup and over 2 litre improved production. So Commodore Cup's actually our strongest category here in Darwin. So we've got about 10 cars. We've got 12, but we've got 10 cars here this weekend, which is actually a pretty good showing for us here in Darwin. So obviously the improved production guys, we've got quite a lot of people coming up from south. You know, it's no secret that it's pretty cold down there, and everyone loves the warmth and you know, the vibe of the awesome weekend that we have going on up here. So yeah, a lot of guys bring their cars up, so it's really cool for us because obviously we race against the same cars all the time, and so to get some new cars up here and some new people is really cool. So there's quite a lot of guys that come up every year for it. You know, they love the event. It's a bit of time out from the weather down south. So look, we absolutely love it. So I've been campaigning this event in the little VH Commodore here for probably the last 5 years. Absolutely love it. It is so much fun. You know, obviously racing with a lot of different speeds of cars. You know, for me, racing the improved production guys, you know, I'm faster around the corners, but they got a lot of power down the straight because we've only got a little 253 in these cars, so they're not that stout in the horsepower department, but plenty of fun. So look, really exciting. Obviously for me this weekend it's going to be pretty special because it's the first weekend that my dad and myself have shared the racetrack at the same time together, and we're actually racing together. So he's actually just built this car behind me. It's basically brand new. It's never turned a lap. I'm still on the computer trying to get the car going before my first session, so hopefully we make it out there. So it's going to be plenty of fun, and yeah, hopefully all goes well.
I don't know about you, Crailsy, but I get the feeling he loves it this weekend up here.
I think he loves it. That's just the impression I got. I'm not quite sure, but I feel like he's having a good time, Bryce Forward.
Great young guy, isn't he, though?
Yeah, terrific character. 10th fastest at the moment overall. Some pretty serious improved production cars in this field, and he talked about the 253 V8, that classic Holden engine. It was a staple through the early days of the LH Holden Tirana, right up through VB, VC, VK Commodore. And the Commodore Cup was based on that engine, that one make series that was a staple of Aussie Motorsport for some time. That started with this spec car, the VB VH Commodore body shell, went into a VS later on. It's cool that they're building brand new Commodore Cup cars for Darwin. How good.
It's weird to hear him say a brand new VH Commodore.
Well, it's a bit like we're talking Touring Car Masters about a brand new Tirana or a brand new Mustang.
It's great to see. For the size of Darwin, which is only 100,000 people, the motorsport up here is so healthy, whether it's circuit racing, whether it's speedway or drag racing. It's just so healthy up here.
Well, when you've got a great facility like this to utilise as well, this is one of the best in terms of facilities, permanent racetracks in the country, in terms of the pit lane complex, spectator amenities around the circuit. It's a terrific place to go motor racing. So why wouldn't you, I say? It's a great history now, 22 years of this event in the top end, so there's a culture that's been built around it.
Watching John Newman, one of the 3 under 2-litre cars out on the circuit now. The little Corolla heading down towards turn number 1. He's 26th on the track at the moment and currently second, if my eyes are right, second in class in the qualifying order for this category, but some 8 seconds. But that doesn't matter. These guys will race each other in their respective categories over the course of 4 races here in Darwin.
So to give you an idea, Matt, of the performance differential throughout the field, this car, the quickest of the under 2-litre cars, is 26th on the road at the moment. Don't worry about lap time so much, but straight line speed. Ray Hislop's car's seen comfortably 265 k's an hour down the 1.1k front straight. That car 178 kilometres an hour last time round. So just a casual 87 k's an hour difference between them at speed max before they break.
Look in the mirror and he's gone past you.
Whoosh.
Yeah. You'd get ice burn off of it going past down to turn number 1. Breezer around the backside of the circuit, and so far, with only 6 minutes and a bit left of this session, it's been drama-free. From one end of the spectrum to the other end, and car 15, Rodney Jessup from Darwin. He's been a regular up here for many years, but it's just purchased this car, and it is very quick after what we saw in the opening practice session some 3 hours ago.
It's currently 5th fastest, 118.27. And backs up almost exactly what he did in practice in cooler conditions early this morning. So when you take into account the fact that track temperatures come up, track will be greasier, the cars will be sliding around a little bit more, there's an improvement in there. So if you backed it up session to session in the same conditions, he'd almost certainly be a little bit further down the road in lap time compared to where he was. So he'll be pretty pleased with that. 5th fastest. Caligari still quickest, man. Ray Hislop on a flyer at the moment, though, in the Big Falcon. About to bump that Commodore off the top spot.
Now, just fast forward to the future here, when we're a bit more aged down the road. Seasoned, if you will. That's going to be the modern Commodore Cup car.
Yeah, it is. That's a scary thought, isn't it? Wild moment.
Oh, more.
Oh, big brake locker. Well, you could almost hear the flat spot there as it was coming in, as it rolled up under brakes.
You see it tattering.
Yeah. Ray Hislop's just gone quickest, 1:15.23, 1.1 seconds quicker than the VN Commodore that was on top, and he just celebrated that potential pole lap with a big slide at turn 1.
I wonder if he was trying for back-to-back laps, but that fishtail out of the turn 1 complex was enough to say, nah, we're quick enough now, 1.1 seconds.
Yeah, that's enough. That's a margin. Here it is. So mid-corner on the power. It's a little bit wide on the exit. Beautiful control drift.
He'll say that was planned.
Oh, he will. Celebrating a potential provisional pole lap.
Former privateer back in the 90s in the Australian Touring Car Championship as well. Adam Ubergang across the line, but still in 10th position. That's his fastest lap. 1:19.8, 4.5 seconds away from Ray Hislop. Caligari second. Playford is third in the closing 4 minutes of this session.
There's Kevin Stoopman, Evo Lancer. So part of the joys of improved production is you can run just about anything. So you've got turbo all-wheel drive Evo Lancer. This is a former car that raced in the Australian Production Car Championship. Kevy's a very experienced racer. He's sort of made his fame, I suppose, in HQ racing, classic category. Spent a long time at Winton Motor Raceway. He's just shifted across to be working at the Ben Motorsport Park now in South Australia. He's an experienced motorsport operator.
He's driven pretty much everything there is to drive, though.
Correction, I say, shouldn't correct myself there. He's actually at Winton Motor Raceway. He's just taken over running the show, the on-track operations at Winton. That's why it has it on the front guards of the Evo. So corrections there, but nevertheless, great racer. We'll get it right eventually. It's the heat.
Is it?
Yeah, that's what I'm blaming anyway.
It's only 16 degrees in here. Across the finish line, and that's Johnstone off the circuit. That's across the back at turn number 10. Popular place for fans to watch cars go off, and he's had an off right in front of the, used to be the big gravel trap platform on the right-hand side. Downhill really doesn't show you how far the track drops away to the top. This will be one of those classic moments, coming in way too hot. And the VN, did you ever have a VN back in the day? Did you miss that model?
Believe it or not, we did, yes.
I did too, yeah.
He didn't have a wing like that on the boot lid, though, I can tell you. So he's just pushed a little bit wide there, and it's been caught in the gravel, dragged the car sideways. Gravel trap did its job, retained the car, kept it from crunching into the tyre barriers there. It's a fairly effective gravel trap. It gets tested every year, doesn't it? The one at turn 10. It works hard. They're going to grade it every night. And the groundskeepers will be muttering under their breath about race car drivers firing it off into their nicely manicured gravel trap.
Now they just go, oh, what's going to happen?
Yeah, exactly right.
That's the view from race control on pit lane. He's stuck in there, but with a couple of minutes to go, the session still stays green. Every time I say that, it goes red. So 3, 2, 1. Now we're safe at the moment. The Johnstone car in 9th position. It goes red. There you go. I was 4 seconds away from it going red. Unbelievable.
With 2 minutes to go, you'd say they'll probably call the session there, because there'd just be enough time to get cars back out and maybe do one flyer, but I'm not sure there'd be any improvement with that. You got the feeling as well from the way Ray Hislop approached that qualifying session, it was a one or done thing, and these big heavy cars, you got one lap before your tyres are cooked, and we're just hearing from Cam's race control that it has been called. That looked like it was Neil Crompton's plane just flying in, about to land on the water somewhere for a flight somewhere later on.
Car backing in down there at turn number 10. Just lost the tail of that number 51 car into the gravel, and that will end the session here with just over 2 minutes. In fact, 2 minutes exactly on the clocks here. And give Ray Hislop pole position by the length of the main straight, really, 1.1 seconds.
Wouldn't have wanted to go in there too much quicker than that, Johnston, to that gravel trap, because the car did lean over a lot on the right-hand side as it tipped up and eventually was retained by a gravel trap. And that's a close-up look at the Yokohama tyre stuck in the mud here at Hidden Valley. Good pole for Ray Hislop. Great lap. He's on pole by 1.1 seconds.
Yeah, John Caligari second. Playford will start from third. Zach Hudson from 4 back to Jessup, Stoopman, Braun, Casado, Steve Johnstone, and Adam Ubergang will start from position number 10. In car number 63, Bryce Forward got bumped out in the closing stages. Great to have Rod Salmon in the field. He's out of 12 today. Brad Forward, father of Bryce, starting out of 15 down to Jake Burgess. And Glenn Holdsworth starting out of position number 20. What a field of cars we got here. David Ling, who's done so much for this category over the many years up here. Jeff Cowie, Alan Langworthy, John Newman, 26 down to Gary Dempsey in position number 30. 18 seconds off the pace, but obviously in different classes of racing as they go down to recover. That's not the traditional way we race around Hidden Valley, but the Ford Raptor on his way to pick up the Johnstone car at the end of this session. 4 big races to come, Kralsey.
Really looking forward to it. It's always a great show here at the top end, Hidden Valley Raceway. Porsche Pace Carrera Cup Australia, Matt, isn't too far away.